First start the recording. Yeah. Okay.
Your recording, it's getting started, right?
Yeah, it's recorded. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can begin with the first problem now. So our first problem is we are sorted array is given. We need to convert it to BST. So given an array where elements are sorted in ascending order, and we need to convert it to a height balanced BST. For this problem, a height balanced binary tree is defined as a binary tree in which the depth of two subtrees of every node should never differ by more than one. So this is the sorted array that they have given, and corresponding to that, this is the BST that they have generated, which represents the following height balanced BST. Yeah.
So in this binary tree property
Yeah.
is left subtree of a binary tree node key should be always lesser than the root node value, and the right subtree node should be always greater than the root node key value. So, and given a sorted array, I think if we can easily find the mid of the array, and we can easily construct a left subtree, keep on going using recursion
Yeah.
both sides. So that
Yeah,
would be the
exactly.
ideal solution in this scenario.
Exactly. But regarding what you are saying, the property of BST, the minimum from the left, the maximum from the left should be less than the root, right?
Yep.
And
That
for
should be, yes, that should be lesser than the root, and the right subtree node key should be greater than the root.
You want to share
the
your screen?
minimum. Okay. Yeah, yeah, sure. You
Yeah,
want to share?
I have a solution.
Okay, okay, sure.
You guys can see the whiteboard.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So we have given this input, which is already in a sorted way, so which is a num array. So the recursion method solution is BT, where we are providing nums and start and end. So in the beginning, we are starting the 0, and end should be nums length minus 1, which will be the last index of the array. So then we are calculating a mid over here. And once the mid is found, we are start constructing a tree node. And once the tree node is constructed, then we will go recursively to the left, keep on going until we'll met this condition, which is start should be greater than end. And we will do the null here, where the recursion for that particular pass will end. Then we'll go further to the right. So we can give a try right here. 0, 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, my handwriting is so bad.
No, okay.
So we will here the num should be start should be 0 and the end should be 4. So in the first pass, our so let me. So 0 would be start, end would be 4, and mid will become 2. So we will construct our first node here. So nums of mid, which is index 2. So index 2, we have a 0 over here. So that will become our first node. So now we will go to the left side, which is node dot left. So which is left part of this particular node. So again, we will pass here start and mid minus 1. So the start would be 0, mid minus 1 would be 1, because we had a mid calculated here 2. So 0 and 1. So 0 is greater than and no. So we will go and calculate the mid again. So which will be 0, 1, and mid will become our, it's so
0.
difficult to type using mouse. Yeah, it will become 0 here. So we will construct a node again here. So nums of 0, which is minus 10 in our array. So we got our left part of this particular node. So again, the recursive call is going to the left side because still we at this particular step. So again, what is our latest mid? Latest mid is 0. So start remains 0. Latest mid is 0. 0 minus 1. It becomes minus 1. So we will go here. So still start is greater than. So here the start is greater than end. It means we don't have any further left node to be constructed. So from the first step, we will get a null. So as we were going through the left part, so now we have to go to the right side, which is the last step. So in the last step, what was the mid? Mid was, last mid was calculated as 0.
2.
So
Oh, sorry.
0, it was 0 over
Yeah.
here. So last mid was 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, and end was again 1. So we'll go again here to the recursive call. So start greater than end, no, we will calculate a mid again. So this time our start came as 1 from this step, and end came as 1. So 1 plus 1 divided by 2, our mid became 1. So as we on the right pass of the recursion call, so tree of node nums of mid is 1. So actually nums of 1, which is minus 3, and we were constructing the right node at this step. So minus 3 will come here. So our both left and right is constructed at this particular step. So we will return a node from here. So likewise, the actual call where we started the recursion at 0th node. So where the mid was 2 and where mid was 2 coming from start 0 and 4. So now we can go to the right side of the tree. So what was the mid here when the first recursion start? So 2. So mid plus 1 becomes 3. So what was the end? End was 4. So again, the recursion call, 3 is not greater than 4. We will calculate here again mid. So start was 3, end was 4. 3 plus 4, 7, 7 by 2, and then the mid becomes 3. So as we are constructing the right side of this particular part, so from mid of nums of 3 is 5. So we got a 5 here. So yeah, so likewise we can go further. So our last mid was, now again we have to calculate a left part of this 5. So we are going this way in the recursion. So what was our start? So start was 3 if we have written it here. So mid was 3. So mid minus 1, which is 2. So this is 3, 2. So we will go to the, again, BT call. So start is greater than end. Yes, at this particular step, 3 is greater than 2. We will return a null. So it will become a null here. So in the last iteration, we will calculate the right part of this. So mid plus 1. So last mid calculated was 3. So mid plus 1 is 4. And what was our end? End was 4 in that recursion call. So it becomes 4. So again, we will go back, start, no, it is not greater than end. So it is equal, we'll go next. So at this level, 4 plus 4, 8 divided by 2 is our mid became 4. So again, we construct a new tree node. So nums of 4 in our index is 9. So here, so yeah, so again, because we have constructed the right part of the node, we are returning a node from here, and recursively once the calls will exit in the backtrack. So our tree would be constructed something like this, and that's it. That's how I did.
This is good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
So what about the time complexity it should be?
As it is a recursion, I think it should be log of n.
It should be, I think, order of n. You're visiting
Yeah,
all
it's
the
linear.
nodes. So
No,
you're
but
visiting.
I'm
every
not
time
sure
he's
on
breaking
that
into
part because we are breaking into
T of n should be
half.
No, but we are
two.
going to both
Yeah.
sides. So
We are going both directions. So log n would be when you're going in one direction, but either way you're going in both directions, it will end up like order of n. Because if you see, you're visiting each node. So when you do nums mig, you're constructing a node. So you are visiting each node. So it's like a thumb rule, like when you're visiting all the elements, then at least you are doing order of n.
Yeah, so when you're constructing a binary tree, it will always be order of n.
yeah, we
If
can
you are
prove this
searching in a
mathematically.
binary search tree, it will be log of n.
Because you're going one direction, either left or right. But here you're going both directions.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yes, I got your point. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it
Yeah,
should be order of
mathematically
n.
also we can say that T of n equals to 2 times T of n by 2.
Yeah.
So that would, by using master theorem, we'll get O of n only.
Yeah. So Raghav, right? Raghav,
Yes.
for this implementation, now I see the -3 is on the right side and 9 is also on the right side, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there is a way we can construct both of these to be on the left side, right? Because most of the time the balance tree should be left, should be more than the right, something like that, right?
Yeah, even in the given input also it is like that. But when I ran my solution, I constructed tree like this. So how we can do that in this
No, this is
particular
correct. I'm not
tree?
saying this is wrong. This is correct. But I was just looking at it and I saw that. So yeah, there is a small change you can do in that, when you are actually finding the mid here, when you are saying mid is equal to start plus end by 2, below that you can find if it is left plus right is odd, just increment the mid by 1. And then that will give you the other way. That is the only small trick if you do, that should work. That is what is there in the solution. So I just wanted to add something.
Sorry, I didn't get that. What you mentioned?
Yeah, what I said, like if you see the tree constructed here, -3 is on the right side, right? And 9 is also on the right side of 5.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. So that is the way he has constructed, but there is another way, because what it says in the solution, this is like if you choose a left middle node as a root, okay? So that is the way you get the tree. And this is correct. There's nothing wrong in it. But there is another way to do it, because usually what we do is when we say balanced binary tree, we see the left side should be more than the right side, right? So you can have a -10 instead of -10, -3 here, you can have the reverse way.
Yeah,
So you can
-3
have,
at the top.
yeah, -3 at the top and -10 below. So for that, you have to make a small change in the code where it says you find the mid. When he is finding the mid, below that he can just write if the start plus end is equals to odd. If that addition is odd, then you just increment the mid by 1, and then you will be able to construct the tree that way.
Okay.
There's a minor trick to that.
Basically, we are doing some kind of a biasing that we want to go left or right more.
Right.
We get this problem only when we have an even length of sub-array or total array, right? So we can take our mid, the first mid or second mid. We need to take the second mid every time so that we get the unpaired element on the left side.
Right.
So basically, we are.
Hello. I didn't got. Please, can you repeat once again? If it's start and end both sum to odd, then what I have to do?
So we have to increment by 1 plus 1 mid.
Okay. Else it would be just like start plus end by 2. In fact, I would suggest that it can be written as start plus end minus start by 2.
that would make any difference, except it would prevent overflows, I think.
I'm not sure. That might be other way also of doing it. But I just wanted to share that because that was in the solution.
Why does it
I'm-
work? Why if it if it out and go to the arrangement that we like?
I was saying like this: key start plus n minus start by 2. It should be the mid.
That is same as start plus n by 2 only, right?
Yeah, that's
But
to
integer
prevent
overflow it takes care
Java
of.
specific.
Yeah.
That's to prevent overflow of integer variable if it is a
Yeah,
two.
that could
Yeah, that
prevent
is only for
overflow,
integer.
but what I think Santosh was telling, that is a different thing after doing that. So once you find your mid, you want to see, you want to go which side heavy you want.
To the right, middle node.
Yeah, basically, if it is a odd, we want. Sorry, if it is a even, we want on the upper side.
Upper side.
Like we want mid to be +1 if it is even.
Floor, I mean, seal you have to take, yeah, whatever mid you get.
So it talks about odd, like if you say start plus end, mod of 2 equals to 1, it means it is odd.
Uh-huh.
So because if you do it the mid, it will come to the other side, right?
So why are we checking at just the odd indices? I mean, why only for the odd ones? I think the logic is that I can have maximum one node extra in the left side. So if I want to form another tree, I can just find this mid and do mid plus 1 and then pass from 0 to start to mid for the left half.
No, but in this case, they want to, have the left child as many as possible, more than the right child.
Yeah, so I can post that solution, so in the Slack, so you can go through it. But that
Yeah,
is
yeah, that's fine. But the solution, let's say if it's out, then it seems it's going to the left side. But I think it's better to understand the reason behind it.
I mean, from question point of view, that there is no reason behind that. But if you technically see that how actually tree built, so when you feel that, so you start filling from left to right. So that's the only intent here, to actually fill it from left to right. Is that correct, Santosh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we are doing here is like we want always a more left nodes. So that's what, like with this trick, we always have more left side things. So
Yeah, if you want, I can share my solution and I quickly run that and show you.
okay.
Just
Does
look.
that take care of balance, right? I mean, height won't be any difference in the height, right?
No, nothing. There's nothing to change in anything. What he has done is exactly right. Okay, let me show you. Okay, is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the way you constructed the tree, right, Raghav? Okay, but I just made small changes here. I'm using L and R and I'm using M is a slightly different way, the way you did. Okay. So if I run this solution, okay. So I get a tree like this. You see, the way they are expecting is slightly different, but it is correct. It is accepted. Okay. So now if I change this one, in this case, if I just add this line here, which is what I was talking to, so it matches their expected output and I run it. See, now it is matching their expected output. And if I Okay, I'm not sure if I can actually copy this here. If I copy this guy here, oh, I don't have that tree.
Yeah, it's just like to visualize it, not here.
It's not that. So that is the way. It just matches the expected one. And if you look at the solution, I'll show you the solution. So it is actually shown there in a picture form. So this is the one what you constructed. Okay, almost the same. So this was your tree. Okay, you got it right.
Right.
Yeah. So, but if I make that small change, the tree will be like this now. So it says always choose right middle node. So your tree will be like this. That's the only change, because here you see the left is more, right, than the right side. So that is a small minor change, but both solutions are okay. They're accepted. They're fine. But for that, you just have to make a small change. What they say, you know, you made it left plus right divided by 2. If you just say if it's an odd, you just increment the mid, which is P over here, by 1. And then you run the same thing. Everything remains same as is.
Yeah, I think this is a good to know this part.
Yeah.
It has never hit to my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I also know, but I just went through the solution and saw. So therefore, I was seeing the why it's not getting accepted. It is accepting, but the output is slightly different than what was expected. So I just went back in the solution and found this change.
Yeah,
okay.
It's good. Thanks, Santosh.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, then we can proceed to next. So it's like next is longest increasing subsequence. We are given an unsorted array of integers, and you have to find the length of longest increasing subsequence. So this is the array, and corresponding to this 2, 3, 7, and 101. That is it's increasing and the longest one, and whose length is 4. There may be more than one LIS combination. It's only necessary for you to return the length, okay? And it should run in order of n square, and follow up is like if you can do it in n log n. Yeah, any queries?
So in the note, it says there may be more than one, the increasing subsequence combination, right?
Yeah.
And
I think there would have been this, like, you can say.
I think 2, 3, 7, and 18, and 2, 3, 7, and 101.
2, 3, 7, 18, and 2, 3, 7, 101. Yeah, from 10 you can't have. Yeah.
So anyway, you're just returning the number.
Length. Yeah.
So the algorithm of O(n) square complexity itself is a difficult one for finding a longest increasing subsequence, right? So he's saying the follow-up will be of O(n) log n. That is more difficult, at least for me.
Yeah. Brute is like whether you can have it, I mean, backtracking, like whether you can include it in your set or not. That will be like order of 2 raised to the parent. Like whether you can have it or not. Then you'll go to 9, you'll check if it is greater than your previous one. Should I take it or not? But here you can't take again. So I mean, you can, each element can be present or cannot be present. If n such are there, then order of 2 raised to parent, that will be. And so again, out of that, we have to check the maximum one.
Yeah. So for brute force, how do? We do the recursive way again, right? Or is it?
No recursive. I mean, backtracking only. Like the moment you find that you are not able to get the next element is less than your previous element, what you have seen, then you will backtrack and go for the next one. Exhaustive search will do.
So you really do a backtracking here, or we just go to the end and then find what is the maximum?
No, you while constructing the partial solution, while appending it to your list, you'll check whether next one element should I append to the list where 10 I've already appended.
Okay.
You'll have a sanity check over there. And if not, then you'll return from there and go for the next one.
Would a monotonic stack work? So, you know, I pick one
Monotonic.
element from left to right. I pick one of it and say, okay, this is the last element on the stack. Now to go from right to left. I mean, go from left to right, and you know, look for the number bigger than, you know, the number on top of the stack, and put it there. So, for example, if I use 10, right, I put 10 on the stack, then, you know, I travel to the left to right, you know, 9 is not qualified, 2 is not. I keep going, and then now it, you know, 110. Yeah, so I put 110 there. But later I'm gonna have 18. Yeah, it may not work.
So again, you will take once you reach the end of the array, you will pop all the elements from the stack and store its length, right?
No, I just get the size of the stack. Yeah.
How about
size of the stack? I think it should be possible, right? Because see, when you come to 2, you will have that as a base, because you will pop out 10 and 9, right? So then 5 is actually greater than 2. Okay, then in that case, you'll pop out 2 also. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been an easier way to implement also, right? The monotonic.
Using stack, yeah.
Okay. So what is your solution on this one?
Whenever, so it's like a DP. One is DP we can use in this, like a classical DP, I think. Now let's go through the example then. Let's say. So what I'll do is, I mean, at every, let's say first I'll look for 10. So at this stage, see, every element in itself is a increasing sequence, right? Like 10, if you take 10 alone, 9 alone, all of them are increasing sequence in itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it is a single number, it is increasing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Now, when you go to the 9, you check if your 9 is greater than 10, whether your 9 is greater than 10. Since it is not greater than 10, you don't need to, you just iterate to the next step. Like you go to the 2 and then check whether your 2 is greater than, so I'll tell you, wait, like, let's have I over here and your j over here. So every time you go from I to j, so initially you had 1, 1, now you are at I. Now just check if element at jth is greater than I, but that's not true. So you just increase the I and again iterate it from beginning. Now what you have to choose, you have to check whether 2 is greater than 10. It's not. You increment this I. You check whether 2 is greater than 9. Again, it's not greater than, 2 is not greater than 9. So you will again increment that j and make I to the, again from starting you do.
Okay.
So if you check again, 5 is not greater than this, 9 also not. Now, but when you come to 2, you'll find that 5 is greater than 2. So at 2, what you are having, so this array is 0, 1, 2. Yeah. At 2, you are having the longest increasing sequence of length 1. This is the LIS array that I'm maintaining.
Okay.
Yeah. So this will take care of what is the maximum LIS at that particular index. So at this particular index, you are having a element of, you are having one length of 1. Now, when you saw this 5, so if you add 1 to the existing 2, you'll have, at this index, you'll have an increasing sequence of 2, or alone if you have 5, then you'll have 1, and maximum of those 2 you'll take. So maximum of those 2, 1 and 2 will be 2. So you'll append here 2. Now
So
again,
LIS at J
one,
you will append, right?
yeah, LIS
In
at
your
J,
case,
huh?
LIS at J. Okay.
J, yeah, that's why I've appended 2 here. To the previous, I'm added 1 and appending. Now again, you'll iterate it to the 3, and this will again go to the here. So if you check here, again 10 is not greater, 9 also you can't. But if you look at 3, 3 is greater than your 2. So at 2 you are having the LIS of 1, and at 3, if you take only 3, then you'll have 1. But if you append that 3 to 2, you can have 2. So at LIS here, I think this index is this, right? You can have this 2. It
Yeah.
could be 1. Now, if when you increase 5, now you'll check at 5 you are having 2, right? So
No,
if
but
if
5 is
alone
lesser.
3 is,
5 is greater, so you won't
oh
be
sorry,
able to check,
5
right?
is like you won't be able. So once it again reaches J, you will expand this to here, and you'll go back to the 10. Now again 10 you can't, this also you can't. Now 2, at 2 if you go, since 7 is greater, so here you can either if you take 2's till 2 you have 1, and if you append 7 to that you'll have 2, and alone 7 you'll have 1. So maximum of those 2 will again be 2. Now if you go for 5, at 5 you have already 2, and at 7 till now you have 2. But when you append 7 to 5, you can have a sequence of 3 which is maximum than 2. So you'll update it to 3. And again if you go to 7, yeah, if you go to, I think in 7, at 3 you're having 2, and if you append 7 to it, you'll again have 2. So if it is equal or greater, you can, because here you'll have 3 and already you have 3, so you don't need to update it. It will be as it is. So now again your J will increase, and you go to here. So if you check 101, it's greater. So at this place you can have for if you add 10, append 101 to 10, you'll have 2, because at 10 you are having 1. So as of now it is 2. Now expand this 9. At 9 you have 1, so 2 equal to 2, so it will be same only. At 2 if you see, again it will be 2 only, same. But at 5 if you go, 5 you have 2, and if you add to it this 101, it will be 3, which is greater than 2.
No,
Now
no,
again you have,
sorry, you did it the reverse one. Okay, you went to the where you have changed the 3
yeah.
is last. It was on the wrong index. Okay, just make that 2.
Oh, it
Yeah,
should
and
be
you made the
here.
other one 3. Yeah.
Yeah, here I think.
Okay.
Yeah, the outer loop index is incrementing. So if you look at line 11, it is I which is incrementing.
No, actually, right, but he has taken the I and J in a reverse way. That's fine.
Yeah,
If you
reverse
put
one.
slightly, yeah.
I'm
No,
not following.
He's just swapped it. In the code is different. Here he's showing it differently.
No, even in the example, right? He is incrementing J, but then the inner loop is I because he's going back and forth with I. So his outer loop is J in the example. Okay, got it.
Right,
Okay.
right. Outer is J, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not strictly following this
Right, got it,
code.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
intuition just jumping. Yeah. Now if you go to, I think we were here, right?
Yeah.
Now if
So-
you go to 5, you have 2 here, and if you append this 3, and they are equal, so you don't need to do. For 3 again it will be 3. For 7 you have 3, and J is this, so you'll have this 4. 4 will be maximum, and okay, again you'll go to 18, and this will go to 10. So it if you do this, it will be 2. You can't do anything here. Here again 2 it will be. At 5 if you go, it will be 3. So 3 is the maximum as of now. Again 3. Here you will have 4, and yeah, here. So I think you will have 4 only, because 101 is again small, greater than this. So maximum of just you iterate, get a maximum out of this. That will give you the.
So at every time, when in your case, when you're looking for the index J, so
Yeah.
whatever numbers are lesser than J, you are counting, but they should be in sequence.
Yeah, it should be in sequence.
Yeah. So that is what you are doing over here.
Till that point, what is your LIS? And if you append that element, and if you don't append that, you don't take that, which one is greater? Take the max of those two.
Okay. So, but in this case, like most of the DP solutions, you return the last one or maybe the first one, right? Depending on how you are actually iterating. But here you don't return any value
Yeah.
from the LIS, but you are returning a different value, like the max LIS value, right?
Max of, yeah.
Max of,
Otherwise, we used to return DP of 0, or DP of -1 or
right.
something like that. The last one or the.
So it's not index specific. It is something which you are looking for again at the end.
Yeah.
Even a small modification
And they could
can
be.
made, and a variable maximum can be stored, and if max is less than the current LIS, then we can update the max instead of again iterating over the LIS and finding the maximum value.
Exactly, you can eliminate this LIS by taking max so far. But at every point you check what is your maximum LIS, and then depending on that you don't need to construct this array then.
No, I think you should still
No.
construct
In
this
that
array.
case, also you have to construct the array, but you don't have to again evaluate the maximum. This will save the space.
Yeah, there's slight optimization there.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what is she saying? You maintain a variable, something like a max value or so, and then when you are actually incrementing that, you just increment that value also and return that value instead of iterating. Because max, when you are saying for LIS, it goes through each and every element and looks for the maximum value, right?
Yeah.
So that you can do it just O of 1 maybe.
And second, I think they can ask you what is that particular longest sequence. In that case, you have to maintain. You can get. What is that sequence which is longest? Here they are just asking you the length, right? So if they ask you directly this, so you just let's say you are on 4, you just check which index is less than 4. So less than 4 is what your 2 is there. I think here some mistake is there.
No, that is correct, right? So 7.
Immediate next you have to get. So after 2, you'll check for 3. So yeah.
At 7, it
sorry.
will be
One less. Yeah, this one. Yeah, so this will be either you will start from this one or this one. You can have multiple. So 4, 3. So 4 means 18 you'll have. Then 3 means 7 you'll have. And among these two you can take anything. If you take 3, so 18, 7, 3 and 2. Or here also 2 possibilities are there. You can have 5 also. Or if you start from 1, not 1, here again different set you can have.
Yeah, I think the 7 should be 3. I'm sorry. Actually, I missed for that when you were working on it. So the 7 index should be 3, yeah. The LI should be 3.
3. I think this one, right?
Yeah. That should also be 3.
Yeah. Main is the intuition like we had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any queries in this? And code is like, that's obvious. We are creating a list of num. Whatever the length of nums is, those many number of ones we are creating, iterating for every I. Up to that I, you start from 0 to I, iterate it and check if your next number is greater than your previous one. And you need to check this also. If the LIS at that particular position is less than this, just append 1 to it and proceed further. At last, just return the max.
So we have 5 and next is 3. So isn't it a break of a subsequence at 7? Shouldn't it be like just 2, like 3 and 7?
I didn't get.
So the 5 is greater than 3, right? That's why at 7, would it be like a subsequence forming from 3 to 7 and not? So it should be 2, right? At 7.
No, but we are starting from 2.
We are
You're
starting
saying
from
index at 7 should be
But the biggest one is 257.
2537. Sorry, no, there can be multi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, either 257 or 237. So that's why it's 3 there.
Yeah.
But are we not resetting the number if it is, let's say 523 is the index increased, but the number decreased, right? At that transition.
But we need to find the increasing one from beginning.
Or we can do once more if I think it will.
No, that's fine. But
Okay.
yeah, that might be, yeah, we might have to revisit
Some minor,
it in that
I
case.
mean,
It is, yeah.
This is something.
You can print that value, right? LIS value.
Yeah, definitely. I think.
Yeah, the other thing we could do is like we can have a max as a variable instead of returning max from the list. That may be a little more efficient.
Oh,
I think some indentation. Yeah.
Okay, 1 1, 3 ones, and 2 twos and 1 3. Okay.
Somewhere we.
Yeah,
I
that.
think
Okay. Yeah, there were 2 threes.
1 2 3 4.
Yeah, 1 extra 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere it got.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Oh, correct. Yeah, so this is the normal dynamic. Okay, yeah, the ultimate dynamic programming solution, which has bottoms up, right? So this is the most efficient way of doing it, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't think so because there is a fold of n log n.
Yeah, that is more.
Yeah, that is what they said with the binary search. So, but before even going that, don't you have any solution for the top-down approach?
Top down, no, I don't have.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
I think for top down, how should it be like? The recurrence.
I can quickly go through it, but that's not the efficient way. And I'll just
Yeah,
show
sure.
you the code how it is.
Okay.
My screen visible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the one what you showed. Yeah, so this is the top-down one. Okay, with a memoized version. Or yeah, that is the brute force way. So in this, I'm using this helper function, and I'm passing this memo. This is a vector, a 2-dimensional vector.
Okay.
And then this one is 0, and so this is the index, the current index, and this is the previous index. So therefore I'm putting that as a -1, the second index. So when I come to this helper function over here, so this is my nums array, which comes from the first one, the length of LIS, which is passed from our input. This is a current index, previous index. So if my current index is greater than or equal to n, then I return 0. Okay, or else this is the memoized version, where in the memoized version I keep the position IDX and the previous index plus 1, because initially the previous index is -1, so I make it to 0, and therefore my size of the memo is n+1 both sides, right? So only to take into that account that -1, so I'm just adding 1 to it everywhere, right? So now here what I do is for the first one, I look for if the previous index value is lesser than the current index one. So it means it is increasing, and there I increase the current index, okay, and I keep the previous index as this current one. Okay, and then I add 1 to
Yeah.
it. So this is what I get as a what do you call status or
Flag.
something here. Yeah. So
Flag,
that
yeah,
is the
yeah,
input
yeah.
I get. And then again, it is an AppSec way, right? So either you include or you don't include. So here I don't include it. So I'm just keeping the previous index, the previous which I got from before, and then I just increase the current index over here. And then whatever value I get, I can compare with all of them. Okay, here, like I take the maximum of that, and then I put in this memo and return this.
The 34 is checking if the result is already not present. I mean, if already present, then you return from there, right?
So this is the memoized version, right? So look for
Mhm.
that in the memo. If it is
Yeah.
there,
Then no
then
need
you
to
return it.
recurse.
Right.
Mhm.
So at least it is accepted because of the memo version.
Memo,
Or
yeah.
else if I don't use memo, if it's the iterative way, it works for some solution, but then goes for the TLE
No. No.
for the bigger ones. Yeah, so this is the top-down version. You just have two helper functions.
So if the previous index is -1, then yeah, you're gonna go there. Okay. So that
Here I'm not
they're
going
gonna
because
be
I'm
the
checking
same.
that.
Okay, I see.
I'm taking
So
that as a
yeah. So the previous index and the same index gonna be 0. I mean, when you go into the if statement, right? That yeah.
So here I'm just checking it if it is lesser than 0, and then I'm checking for this condition. And then only I'm going here in this helper function, incrementing the indexes.
So, but you don't check for less than or equal? If it
Here
equal, would that still the same sequence or strictly increase?
Strictly increasing, right? So
Okay,
it is the longest increasing subsequence.
Okay.
So
If
it
they
is
give that
same.
non-decreasing, then I think we can use equal to the non-decreasing subsequence. I mean, if you have repeated 2 to 2 numbers are like that.
Oh, really?
This is strictly increasing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If they give like non-decreasing, that means you can have duplicate of numbers. So in that case, I think you'll have to use equal to, like if it is either greater or if it is equal to the previous number, then also that can.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know that.
Yeah. There's one of the variation of this longest non-decreasing subsequence.
Okay, when they say non-decreasing, it means increasing, but it is increasing plus duplicates also.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, so this is the memoized version.
Yeah.
And then we need to look for the follow-up version also, right?
Yeah, that I think binary search only there we need to. Not sure.
Yeah, that is what it is. It says you need to look for, you need to use binary search, correct?
Yeah.
And that is the bottoms up approach. He's talking for the bottoms up approach. You need to use binary search to find that value.
So we'll have to sort it first of all.
I don't think so. You have to sort, right?
But if we sort it, the orientation will be okay. Go ahead.
One thing
Yeah,
that
if we
comes
sort
to
it, I
mind,
mean, the index will change.
Yeah.
one thing that I can see is that we can start from the end of the array, and we can see if some element is on the right side, which is just greater than. And if it is just greater than, then we will take the alias value of that one and increment it by 1 and update in the current one. Like that, I think so it would go.
But that is the same thing.
What? Yeah. Then where is n log n this? I mean, how that will come as n log n? This log n factor gives an indication of binary search, right?
Right. But that is not right now.
Do you want to share your solution?
Yeah, if
No.
somebody.
Okay.
I was just thinking about this one.
Okay, no problem. So yeah, she's saying that we can go through the reverse way also, right? Start from the right side instead of starting from the
From the,
left.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so that might also work. Yeah, that might work, sure. But yeah, all things will change in that case, right? Instead of looking for lesser than the previous index, it will be greater than, and then we should be able to arrive at this solution again. Yeah, but for the binary search, it will be slightly different.
This is
Yeah,
what
you
we are
have
also.
that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Could we go over the binary search? For the let's see, go example first. How it worked.
Yeah. So they are first creating a DP array of nums length, right? And what they're filling it with?
Are you sharing your screen?
Oh, I'm not sharing.
He's sharing. Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, so Leon wants to share. You want to share?
No. I don't see your screen sharing.
No, I can see it, Leon.
Yeah.
Maybe there is something.
Okay, let me come back.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you are saying okay. This DP will be 0 in that case, right? That is what you are initializing that value.
Nums. Oh.
Right.
So
this is Java code. Okay.
Yeah, that's why. Nums.length. So they are initializing with the length everything, right? With whatever the length of the array is.
Correct.
1, 2. What is the length? 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 to 4 to 6 to 8.
So in that binary search, he is looking for.
This is the size of the DP array.
Length.
Yeah. On line number 3, nums.length gives the size of the array.
It will be 8 only, right?
Yeah.
They're not initializing with anything, I guess.
Yeah, they are not initializing. Yeah, that's right.
It is 8.
It is 0, 0, 0, 8 times. That's all.
Oh, got it. Yeah. I mean, empty space of 8 length or 0, 0 of 8 length. Okay.
So what it is initialized in Java, the DP array, is it always initialized to 0 values or?
I mean, there must be some garbage value.
Okay. So don't make it 0. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Next is like they are applying binary search from 0 to length.
Now length in this case for the first one is 0. Correct.
0, 0 to.
Yeah. So for binary search for the DP array, and num is the value which is taking from nums. So that is the first value, which might be 10. Right?
Yeah.
So in DP array from 0 to 0 index, he tries to find 10. Correct. So there is no value as 10 in that. So it will return some value like a -1 or so.
They're storing at the ith index this num. This won't work in the first loop, right? I is less than 0, they are telling.
Yeah, so if I is less than 0, because he can't find any value in the DP array whose value is 10, correct? So then in that case, the arrays.binary search, I think, will return -1. So if I is less than -1, so what it is going to do is -1 plus 1 will be 0. So I will be 0.
To 0.
So now in the DP array, 0th location, it will store 10.
10, okay.
Yeah. So then he will increment if I is equal to length, then he will increment length by 1 now. So now our length is 1 for the next iteration. Correct. And so now, I'm sorry, go ahead. Who's this?
Yeah, I is also 0 and length is also 0. So it will increment. Correct.
Correct, right? So now the length will be 1. So then actually for the second iteration from 0 to 1, it will be looking for the value 9. Correct. So that also he is not able to, he won't be able to find. So he will return -1. And then again, the I will be 0 in this case. And then he will store 9 again on 10. He will overwrite 10. Okay, so now len will be 2. So now len will be 0 to 2, and then he will try to find 2 in that case. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's not able to find 2. So again, he will go and look for
Override it.
override with that 2 value.
Sorry to add, length will be 1, still 1 in that case. So once
you want to share.
Yep.
No, I
That
was
will
just,
be 1.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because previously we already increased the length.
Okay, my bad, sorry.
So what is the overall intuition here? What they are like?
Yeah. So everywhere it's not going to increment the length. So whenever the value is greater, okay, it's in the decrementing order, it's not going to increase the length at all. So therefore it is going to always store at that initial location, right? So when it comes to 2, then it will return that ith value, right? Am I right? Because if you look the example what he's showing on the top of this,
yes.
Just go up.
In the example description.
No, here only. Yeah. You just go above the code.
Oh, above the code.
Above, yeah. See, if you see this way, so for this way, and if we look at the way it's implemented, so it starts with 0. First, it stores the value 0. And then when it comes to 8, it is greater than 0. So it stores 0 and 8. Okay. So when it comes to 4, that is the second index, it looks for 4 in this. So 4 index will be lesser than this one. Okay. So then he will override 4 over here.
4, yeah. So there is that is the place where they are using binary search, because that's a sort of 0 to 8, right?
Yeah. So I'm not sure how the binary search that function in Java works. So if you look at this way, that solution, then actually you come to know.
Looks like behavior should be different. Otherwise, how we are thinking that if number is not there, it will always return -1. Then I'm not able to actually build the array what he actually showed in the his example.
Yeah.
So whenever he's seeing any greater element than that, he's directly appending it. The moment he finds that the next element is smaller than this, he'll find the appropriate position where that should be placed inside this sorted array.
Yeah.
And
therefore the solution is n log n. But so they have this binary search function in Java, but or else we will have to implement this. Correct.
C++ also you can use the lower bound or upper bound.
Yeah. So the behavior, the behavior for the binary search here is different than
the normal one. Yeah.
It does not always return minus. Yeah, it does not always return -1.
Yeah, it won't return -1, but wherever, sometimes it might return even -2 based on where your value is going to go.
There's a good document in Geek for Geeks. I've shared in the chat. So, so might it's a huge description. They have explained really well using this binary search.
I think you share it in Slack because it will get finished the moment the Zoom stopped.
Okay, I'll do it.
You create a thread corresponding to the question and share it there.
I shared it.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the one which we couldn't complete, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll check.
We can move on that, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we can go to next then. So this is a critical connections in a network. We are given n servers, which are numbered from 0 to n-1, and they are connected by an undirected server-to-server connections, forming a network where connections of phi is from A to B, represents a connection between server A and server B. Any server can reach any other server directly or indirectly through the network. And critical connection is defined as a connection. If and when it's removed, the server will not able to reach each other. So we need to return also critical conditions in this network, critical connections, sorry, not condition. Yeah. So if you find here, this is one of the critical connection. If you break it, you'll get two connected components. So this 1,3 or 3,1, both are accepted.
So basically, you have to find the articulation point, right? Where we disconnect the edge and it becomes two disconnected. I mean, there are more than one component of a graph.
Components, yeah.
That articulation point, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, there are two things, right? One is the articulation point and other is called as bridge. So articulation point is slightly different, but almost both are similar.
Right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but bridge is an
This is a
edge.
bridge.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
This is a bridge. Yeah.
So he's asking to find us a bridge.
Articulation is also same only, like
it's removal of vertex.
Yeah, it is same. It is like you are finding a single vertex.
Okay.
Here you are finding a link, which is the edge.
Edge, yeah. Okay.
But both algorithms are almost similar. Very small variation in both of them. But I think the articulation point is slightly complex than the bridge.
That
the
requires
surface level both. Okay, go ahead.
No. I'm saying that it I think requires some few concepts of bridge for the articulation point. It's not the other way around. You can bridge is more simpler.
In layman terms, bridge is like you break it, you won't be able to connect those 2 points, right? So that will give you 2 connected components.
Yeah.
So like if we think one, as a critical point, and if we remove one, right? And
you have to remove edge, okay.
Yeah, suppose there's no connection between 2 and 0. If we remove one now, it becomes 3 separate nodes. Yeah, I'm thinking in terms of number of islands. Right now, if it's only one island, right? Because it's all connected. But if we remove the node 1, now, we will have 3 islands. Suppose there's no connection between 2 and 0.
But they are asking to remove the edge, right?
Yeah. So let's say in this case, let's say, the brute force would be, I think, just go and remove one edge at a time, right? And count number of islands.
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah, that is correct. And for counting the island, you use DFS or BFS, whatever. Like let's say 0, 1 you will break. You break it and run a DFS. When you run the DFS, you'll get the total number of islands, and you know that initially your number of islands is 5. If after running the DFS also you get 5, that means you have not it has not been broken into 2 parts. Yeah, but when you break 1 and 3, when you run DFS either on 0, 1, 2 or on 3, the number of islands either you'll have 3 or you'll have this 1, which is not equal to your total number of islands, that is 5. That clearly shows that it has been divided into 2 parts.
How do you define island is over here?
Island, like nodes they're telling, like let's say if you cut this critical point, you'll run DFS from here. So from 1 you'll go to 2, and from 2 you'll go to 0. You'll increase the count, but again you can't go to 1 because already this has been explored. So here you'll have 3 islands, 3 nodes, but total number of nodes initially given is 5, which is not equal to 3. That means somewhere something is broken. So that will say that that this is that critical point.
Yeah, means you can travel from one node to another, one vertex to another vertex using the edges. Like if you see now, like if you break 1 and 3, then you cannot travel from 1 to 3 directly. Maybe you need to swim or fly and then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Yeah. So that will be yeah. Go ahead.
So other way would be like instead of using DFS, you can use union find also, right?
Yeah.
But
that
with
is the
union find, then if you remove an edge, you need to create another union file again, or you can reuse it. reuse the
Yeah.
existing boolean file.
You'll have to again start with from the beginning. Yeah, makes sense.
Mhm.
Can we
So
modify union so that we can, add union, but also remove at the same time? Then probably we can reuse it, but I don't think I think it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, it will be
but
a bit harder,
we can, I think, because
but should be possible to do. I think so. Okay, but actually going through the DFS, the normal island finding way is still not an acceptable solution, right? When you submit it.
yeah, exactly. It will be like order of n square you will go, because for DFS you'll have order of b plus c, and for every edge you are visiting, so order of e square. I mean order of n square it will be.
So you have used something like in out time.
Yeah, that is there is this algorithm called Trojan's algorithm something.
Yeah,
Tarzan,
uses in
Tarzan.
out time.
Tarzan, sorry. Yeah,
Tarzan, Superman, something they call it.
yeah. Yeah, we can go through if somebody wants to explain Tarzan or.
I think you can share.
Okay, let me check it. That. Yeah, I think it's working, right? Okay, let's do that Tarzan algorithm. What he was saying, like start and end time. So let's say this. I'm taking a graph like this, and it's not the graph. It's like first I'm taking arbitrary graph. This is your one. Sorry. One, 0, 2, 3. This is 4, and this is your 5. Okay. So I mean, in this algorithm, there are two things. Like first, whenever you break any edge in the cyclic graph, you will never have a connected component. Only you can generate the connected component if you have a cyclic graph, like 2 and 3. If you break, then only you'll be able to generate. So how we start from here? Also, we are running DFS only. So initially, you'll start from this vertex, and let's give its index position as 0. And now you try to find which is the nearest node to this vertex. So if you see, the nearest node to this vertex as of now is this only, because we haven't explored any other nodes till now. So we'll give a time or something like, you can low value Yusuf, we'll give it as a 0. Then we'll proceed for 2. So this is the first node again I'm visiting. And if you see here, what is the nearest node that you can do with that would be nearer to this one. So the node itself will be nearer to this here again, and you're not supposed to you'll have you will give a time of 1. Now 0 2, I'm running DFS over it. Now after that we'll go here, and here if you go is the second node that you are visiting, and the nearest node to it will be this itself. So this is the 2. Now when you have visited this, when you go this is the node which you have already explored. So what will happen, you get the minimum of the timings. This node was visited at 0, and this node was visited at time 2. So minimum of these two, whatever is, you update it with that time. So you update it with 0. So this shows that for this node, the nearest node that you can visit is this. Now you have explored this.
So you are changing that 2 value only when you are backtracking, right?
Backtracking, exactly, huh?
Okay.
Yeah. Now I'll backtrack again here. I'll come to 2. Now since one can reach to, from 1 you can go to 0. So from 2 also you can go to 0 via 1. So again this will be made to 0. This will now after that you'll see if you can explore any further nodes. This is already explored, so you'll go here, and let's say this is the third node that you are visiting, and nearest node to itself will be 3 only. Again you'll go to here for 4, your nearest node will be 4, and you will go to 5. For this your nearest node will be 5, and now when you go here, you have already explored this node. So when you explore this node, you'll take the minimum of these two timings, whatever you have. So that will be updated here as 3. Now you'll backtrack from here. Again, you'll see which is the minimum. So minimum will be 3 here. Now since we got call from here, so we'll again backtrack. When you backtrack, you'll find that it's 3, both are equal only, so you don't need to do anything. Now you'll go backtrack from 3 to 2, but here you'll find a difference in the node. Whenever there is a difference in this timing, that clearly shows that that will never be a cyclic one. So here you can break, but here again, if you see both are same, so it shows that they are cyclic in nature. Again, they are cyclic in nature. So even if you break here, you won't be able to separate into 2 parts. So whenever you find these two values are different, that shows that graph is a cyclic, and if you break this edge, it will divide into 2 parts. This is what Tarjan's algorithm is.
Okay, so in your 3, when your 3's the lower value or low link value or whatever you call that, if that is greater than the second nodes, that is the discovery time, which is the 1. Okay, if it is greater than that, if it is greater than low link's value of 3, then you can say that is a bridge, right?
Bridge, yeah.
Okay. So that is the only condition we have to look for.
It's a normal DFS iterating, yeah, just with the extra of this timing factor.
So when you
what is the meaning of the second entry?
What are you saying?
The second low link value, yeah.
It's the first one we recorded when we first visited, right?
Yeah. So, but when you're backtracking, you have that low link value always, but when you are actually backtracking, you are trying to find a node where you can reach, if that node was not there, so if you can reach to a lower node or a node which has a lower low link value. So whatever is the lowest value, you just update that value with your current node. So it means that there is another node from where you can reach this node.
Yeah. Since you reach from again, if you can reach from 1 to 0 and 2 can go, this can go to 1, so this can also reach to 0. So you just update it. This makes sure if all the numbers are equal, no, that makes that you are in a cycle.
I see.
Otherwise, you will never have these numbers as same. This low time, whatever this timing I have. Again, same this here cycle, and whenever you find, I think definitely this will again be, this timing will be greater than this, but yeah, I thought that if any different value is also there, if it is -1, but that's not possible because before visiting this, you have already visited this.
Yeah. So if we had a connection from 1 to 5 in your case, then maybe the third low link value would have also been 0, correct?
This will be 0.
Yeah, so all of them would have been 0. So then
you
would
reach
not
here,
have that case, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You will go to here and you will update it to.
Yeah, when you're backtracking, everyone will be 0, and then you won't have that condition at all.
And that's obvious. And you delete any edge, you will never have 2 components. Any edge if you delete. So if you look at the diagram, I think what is this one. So it's your, what is this? 2, 1, 0 and 3.
Sketch, right? From 3, if you have some node to 6, right?
Okay.
So in this case, what should be the outcome? I mean, we should be printing any of the possibilities.
This top one is connected, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, then this
6 actually will be the discovery time will be 6. Okay. So low link value also will be 6, but from 6, if you backtrack because you don't have anything, right?
Hmm.
So if this one goes off,
the value will be different no here, because this will be 6 and this will be your
3.
whatever 6 it is. When you backtrack from here, the
Yeah.
lower value will be different. That means this is the
8.
critical age.
Okay.
Yeah.
so I think in that case you cannot take the low link value of your parent, because 6 parent is 3 in that case. So you cannot update the 3's low link value for 6 low link value because that is your parent. So leaving the parent, you can actually look for your other nodes and then only you can take their lowest low link value.
Yeah, this is the same case you'll get in this one. If you see, this is 2 and this is, I think, sorry, you have 0. This is 1 and these two are connected, and again here I have some node like 3, let's say.
Yeah.
So if you start from here, you'll have 0. Then it's reaching time. I mean, the nearest node till now, as of now, will be 2 only because no other nodes have been explored. Then this is the first node I'm visiting. Its reaching time will be this itself. You'll go to this 2. Its reaching time will again be 2. And after this, this node is yet to be explored, so it will be 3. From here, you'll have 3. Now when no other nodes you can explore, so you'll backtrack. When you backtrack, you'll find these two are different. You can't, so this will be critical age. And when you again go backtrack from 1 to 2, so you'll find that these two are minimum of these two. You update this 2 with 0, then you'll reach 2. After 2 you'll come to 1, just update it. This will be 0. So all the cycle had 0, and this is your
Yeah, I think, every time when you backtrack, you need to look if you are coming from the same parent. If you are coming from the same parent, you should not update. But if you are not coming from the same parent, then only you should update.
update.
So that is one small change.
Suppose we start from 3.
Okay,
Then we still need to go all around, and then we come back, we update it, right?
So if you start from 3,
Yeah,
it will
so
be
if you can go from 3, yeah, we can
1
do
1. Then from 3 you'll go to this one 2 2, because you haven't visited. Again you'll from here you'll have 3 3, and here you'll have 4 4 4 and 4. Now again this node has already been explored, so you'll backtrack from here, I think.
Yeah, so when you're backtracking now, see the 4th node's parent is 2, correct?
Yeah.
So in that case, you will only take the low link value of the 2, and the 4's low link value will be updated to 2.
2. But
Right.
it's not a directed graph. How? Oh, that timing will
No,
give
because
you.
you are looking at backtracking, right? So then it will come there. And then
Mm.
when you go to the second, that 2 node, actually its parent is 1, so you are not going to take that, but you are going to take it from this guy, the previous one what you visited, that 4 2, and then you will update that 3 3 to 3 2. So when you come back to 2, then you are actually right. So this will be 3 2, something like that, and then you will come to 2 2 because you are backtracking from 3 3.
Yes. So I mean, this cycle will have the same time value. The moment when you backtrack to this, this will be this value will be different than this, right?
So this value will be 0, right? So in this case, your parent for this one is 3. So your 2 0 2 2 will be 2 0 in this case, right? 2 2. Okay, so this will be 2 2.
Yeah. So then from 1 you'll go to 3.
Yeah. So when you go to 3, at that time you'll check your low value. Okay. So your low value should be lower than that. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
Wait,
missed
don't we
somewhere. But
we
yeah.
have a visit somehow don't we have visit node? Because it seems like if we don't have visit node, we just keep going back.
No,
And
we have
keep
visit.
going
You have to have visit nodes. You have to have visit nodes.
That's why I'm backtracking. No, when I came here, I saw that this node is already visited. That's why I backtracked to here. And again, I'll backtrack to here. And then I'll backtrack to here. We are keeping track of visited ones. That nodes had already been explored. Yeah.
But now in that case, 1 will be the parent. So you are not updating it, right? So, but it is already visited. And then you will check if the value of 1. Yeah. So, yeah, that is some trick to understand it clearly, but yeah, it should work anyway.
Yeah, we can iterate it more.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And that takes like order of n because only one time you are visiting all the nodes, right? I think this will take order of n only because only once you are visiting. DFS is iterating only once.
No, let's say you have, fully connected, vertex with, n square edges. So it is not big O of n, right? It would be big O of n plus the number of edges.
Yeah, O of edge plus the vertices.
Yeah, so that vertices will be also n only, n plus n minus edge. If vertices are n, edges will be n minus 1.
Yeah, but sometimes the edges might be lesser, so it is always better to have edges separate and nodes separate.
Okay. Yeah, this is the code for that. So this is visited. That will take care of your visited. We are giving the time, and this is the low time, that what I was showing there. And each time you go to the next, just increment the time 0, 1, 1, and add whichever vertex you visit. Just add it to this your visited set array. Then travel for every corresponding to that corresponding to that vertex. Check which all vertex are connected to adjacency list. If that's not visited, that's just update the parent of it and increase the children. And this is for the articulation points calculating. This is your, I think, yeah, and this is what you are updating the timings, or like in cycle what I showed you. U and B, yeah, and if it's greater than this, just append to those critical edges. That is one of the critical. There can be multiple critical edges. Here it's only one. You update it, and this is if you have any backage, like while backtracking. Then, like once you backtrack, that time you update your minimum time, right?
Right.
So this is that, and just we return the critical, and this is like just for creating the graph in the Python. We are creating a dictionary and appending corresponding vertex to it, this to it, and we are for every age up to n plus 1 we are calculating this articulation point where it is, yeah, this function, and yeah, at last return the critical edge.
Yeah, you don't need to actually have that children here, right? So that is for the articulation
points. Yeah.
So the rest of the algorithm is, that's okay. But the children plus 1 is not required because you are not using it anyway, right? Because because in articulation point you have to look for children's, because if it is a root, then you have to know what is a root. For that you need those children value.
Children. Okay.
Because if the parent is null, it means it's a root, and if children are greater than 1, so it means again we are confirming it is a root. Then only to differentiate that condition of whether it is a root or not root. Yeah. So, but you are not using it, so it's not required.
Required. Yeah. We can. I think Java or C++, it might be more lines of code.
I see almost similar in this case. Yeah.
Not really. I just posted a really good video which actually very well explain this algorithm what you just explained, Sang.
Yeah, I've also seen
And I follow that and implemented, and I think just 10 lines of code.
First time in
Where
Python.
did you
10 or
post
15
it?
line
In
of
Slack?
code.
I'll share the video I got from that video only.
Yeah, in Slack.
Okay, yeah. Oh, you have posted. It's good then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's slightly tricky to understand because when Leon came up with that test case of starting from the third one, you need to actually understand it well. So because that's a critical way of representing it. Yeah, but that's a good one.
I'll share the video. I think if it's already said, then it's okay.
No problem.
The same example he used. He has explained it beautifully. Like.
So if I don't see the video, can you somebody please post it?
Yeah, it's in Slack channel.
I'll post it. I think he has posted. Praveen has posted.
If the channel, which channel is it? Lead Code Practice?
Yes.
Yeah. That channel.
You need to check in the thread.
So just check the thread for the problem. Yeah. Go up, I think.
No, it's a previous. Oh, sorry, it's today's
Yeah,
problem.
it is.
Okay.
I'm seeing that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So here he might have created a thread.
Yeah, just go below and then
Yeah, this one.
And then, this one.
Oh, I see. I'm new to Slack, so I don't know about
it.
Oh, the William Fest guy. Okay. No problem. Yeah.
I don't know. I'll also share. I think maybe if those are same, then it's good.
Yeah, if it's a different one, share it, please. No issue.
Okay. Sure. Okay then.
Yeah. Thanks, Seshan. It was a good one.
Thanks, Santosh.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen.
Thanks, Praveen.
Thank you, Leon.
Thanks,
Thanks, Leon.
Thank you,
guys.
Anybody iOS developer here?
Darshan is asking anyone iOS developer.
Even I wanted to ask for some Spring framework development.